your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Now, Game 3, the conclusion of the series. Let's head down and check in with Emily Jones.
Buzz, the Rangers always have maintained throughout the season that their goal is to win series. That is, of course, unless they take the first 2 games in a 3-game series, then the goal is to sweep.
Every game is important now, especially winding down the season, and we don't want to let up any because the Astros are a good team, and we just want to finish up what we started, and that's just playing good baseball and trying to win this division.
And Jeff Bannister has maintained since the Rangers took over the lead in the American League West that there is never a moment to exhale. So they are waiting to exhale until the end of this entire thing. But right now, holding their breath, so to speak, and not wanting to let down at all. Sounds like a pretty good strategy. And maybe the title of a Whitney Houston song or something, Buzz?
Could be. Could be. Well, they've got the entire offseason to exhale, so they can wait for a little while. Well, Chris Bassett on the hill, and Jeff Bannister has put the lineup out there. Before Basic Tom's going to tell you about the Southwest Airlines batting order.
Well, it's going to start with Delino DeShields in center field, followed by Shin-Soo Choo. Shin-Soo, a .542 hitter in his last 7 games. Prince Fielder will bat third. Adrian Beltre is the cleanup hitter with 17 RBIs in his last 12 games. Mitch Moreland is batting fifth. Elvis Andrus, with a career-high 7th home run in last night's game, will hit 6th. Rougned Odor, with a tape measure home run to right field, will bat 7th. Will Venable gets the start in left field and bats 8th. And Chris Jimenez will bat 9th. He's the catcher.
And Delino DeShields stepping in to get things underway. Chris Bassett with the first pitch, and he fires strike 1.
First pitch.
Chris Bassett, basic pitcher. He has very good stuff. He's been battling some shoulder issues. So the Rangers will try and run up his pitch count early, see if he has some command issues. Bassett today will probably be limited to in the neighborhood of 70, 75 pitches. This is his first start since August the 26th, when the A's shut him down after that shoulder problem. So the 26-year-old right-hander who hails from Ohio came over from the White Sox on the deal that sent Jeff Samardzija over to Chicago. And into center field. In a hurry is Burns, but he's got to play it on a hop, and Delino DeShields opens up with a base hit for the Rangers here this afternoon. And we'll take a look at the rest of the A's defense this afternoon behind Chris Bassett. You saw Billy Burns in center. He is flanked by Jake Smolinski in left, Josh Reddick in right field. Reddick, 2 errors last night after not committing an error in his previous 82 ball games. Infield of Canada at first, Lowry and Semien up the middle, Valencia at third, and again Carson Blair behind the plate. So leadoff single has DeShields aboard. Here's Shin-Soo Choo, average at .271. He was on a couple of times last night via the walk. Foul back. That on-base percentage for Choo just continues to rocket up to .372 as he stands at the plate here in game number 149 or 150, I should say. 151.
He's on the verge of overtaking Prince for the best on-base percentage on the team. Fielder's at .376.
Yeah, we talked about Choo, the work that he has done, especially since the All-Star break. But you go back to the last day of April, he's hitting .096. And to see where he's come since then, it's just been an incredible climb. Delino inching off the bag at first base. Last 7 ball games for Choo, a .543 average. Off speed, and Bassett gets the strike. It is 0-2. Rangers have not had much experience against Chris Bassett. They've had 4 hitters with some appearances, make that 5 hitters with only 1 at bat. A couple of walks mixed in there, and nobody has a base hit against him. Bassett had 1 relief appearance against the Rangers. DeShields at first. tied for 5th most in the American League with the stolen bases, 23 out of 30. And the Rangers' stolen base has not really come into play much of late. They've kind of gone in that little downturn, stolen base-wise, pitch inside. Of course, Delino would not be getting on base as often as he had a little bit earlier, and Elvis Andrus had been hitting double, so he wasn't in a position to steal as much as he would like to. Rangers, though, still 3rd in the American League with 92 swipes as a team. A ball and 2 strikes to Chu. Rangers 14-7 in the month of September. That's the 2nd best winning percentage in the major leagues. They trail only the Chicago Cubs. Jeff Banish's ball club, a season high 13 games over 500. Last time they were this many games over 500 was the last day of the 2013 season. They finished that year at 91 wins. Another 1-2 pitch. And another foul ball. Chu hanging tough. Bright sunshiny day here in Oakland, and ball probably going to carry a lot better than it does here at night. Almost always does. Not much of a breeze. Cole Hamels getting just his 2nd career start against the A's. Hasn't faced them since 2011. And Delino back with a dive.
I know one thing. There's not many people here, and you can hear the guys selling concessions. I can hear the pizza guy like he's sitting in the next booth.
Yeah, he's out in right field. Great acoustics here. Still a ball and 2 strikes. There goes the Shields. The pitch is inside. There will be no throw.
Well, he picked the right pitch to go on.
He did.
That's slow curveball.
Wow. No, stolen base number 24 for Delino. He's only 2 behind Billy Burns now for the rookie lead in stolen bases this year. Now 2-2 the count. If Chu can now, he's going to try and pull the ball to get DeShields over to 3rd. And he does. Hits it high in the air to right field. Going back is Reddick. He is at the track. At the wall, it's off the wall, and it bounces away from him. DeShields will score. Chu to 2nd. With a stand-up double, the Rangers jump out to an early 1-0 lead. Now there's an example of the ball carrying like it does not at night here. And Chu almost drove that over the 362 mark for the home run. He'll settle for an RBI 2-bagger.
Yeah, off the bat, never occurred to me that that ball was going to go that far. I thought Reddick would drift back in front of the warning track and catch it. Ball is inside corner, not a terrible pitch. But Chu keeps the hands in, and when you're swinging the bat like he is, you're much more apt to hit this ball the way he just hit it. As it turned out, I think if Shin-Soo had settled for a double, he might have been able to get a triple.
Now Prince Fielder pulls one to the right side. That gets Chu over to 3rd. The first out of the inning is recorded at first, but Prince does his job. And now Chu at 3rd with 1 out for Adrian Beltre.
Well, we talked about the first game when the Rangers scored 8 runs. 4 of them came in on sacrifice flies. So the A's will play the infield in. Great opportunity for Adrian. Hopefully they can keep that string going of getting that man in from 3rd base with less than 2 outs.
And the Rangers doing something on the road that seems to have more importance than at home. That's scoring first. The Rangers 63-22 when they score first in a ball game. And Adrian takes strike 1. Well, the Ford leaderboard showing you the RBI leader in the major leagues, not just the American League, but Adrian Beltre tops everyone in Major League Baseball, 22 driven in. Nolan Arenado is 2nd with 20. Out of play on the first base side. No balls and 2 strikes to Beltre. Beltre has hit safely in 11 of his last 12 ball games at a .458 clip. We'll take it back over a little longer time period as far as driving in runs. Beltre with 37 RBI in his last 37 games. Bassett working from a stretch. Chu at third. And another foul ball to the right.
Bassett's got a good arm. His fastball's been 93 to 96. And he's been tough to hit. 223 opponent's batting average in his 73 innings. Wasn't a very high draft choice. College pitcher. Looks like the A's might have gotten a very serviceable guy, depending on how he develops. But the numbers so far with the A's have been pretty good.
Another 0-2 pitch coming. Hard hit off the glove of Valencia into left field. Chu will score. Beltre aboard, and the Rangers lead it 2-0.
Boy, that was a rope.
A hanger, and Adrian turned it around in a hurry. Valencia's had a couple of rockets hit at him in this series.
Yeah, he's playing even with the bag. They've got the infield in. Adrian got a great pitch. Watch this hanging curveball, about belt high and out over the plate. That's one where the pitcher's actually lucky he hit it the way he hit it instead of getting it up in the air.
Oh, an RBI single is what it's ruled for Adrian Beltre. Valencia didn't have much of an opportunity to get a whole lot of leather on that. No, Beltre now 68 RBI. Here's Mitch. And he takes strike one. So you want to play third base, huh?
Well, that's basically all you can do. Is you see the ball, you try to anticipate where it's going to hop, you put your glove down, you hope it goes in it. But when it goes off your glove like that, you've pretty much done all you can do.
Moreland a 284 average. He takes that changeup on the outside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. Mitch, the team leader with 23 home runs. He has driven across 82, so Moreland now just 2 behind Prince Fielder for the team RBI lead. RBI already 22 more than Mitch Moreland's previous career best. And of course the 23 home runs tied the high water mark for Mitch. Way outside, and Blair would jump out of his skin almost to get that pitch. The Rangers opening up fast here this afternoon. 3 of the first 4 hitters with base hits, 2 of them RBI hits. Chu and Beltre. Beltre at first. Still just 1 out in the first. Bassett, after a long look in, nods in agreement. Got him swinging. Mitch gone on strikes. That is out number 2, and it'll bring up Elvis Andrus. Mentioned not a lot of the Rangers had seen Chris Bassett at all. Elvis, one of the guys that seen him just for 1 plate appearance. He walked. That was Mitch Moreland's first chance to see Bassett from the hitter's perspective. Elvis coming off a 2-hit night last night. Home run and double, 3 RBI, 59 driven in now for the Rangers shortstop. A career high 7 home runs and hitting at 260. 0-1. Rangers with 3 home runs last night now are 7th in the American League with 159. Here's Elvis's numbers for his 5-game hitting streak. 368 over those 5 contests. Bassett with the 0-1 pitch. And it's popped up. Foul territory. Blair off with the mask. Squinting into the high sky. Makes the catch. That'll do it. But the Rangers put 2 on the board on 3 hits, and they strand 1 after a half inning. The Rangers 2. The A's coming up. The Oakland A's lineup that will face Cole Hamels.
Well, Billy Burns will lead off. He's a .304 hitter this year against the Rangers. Mark Canha bats second, followed by Brett Lowry, the second baseman. Danny Valencia, hot hitter, .471 in his last 5 games, is the cleanup hitter. Billy Butler will bat fifth. Josh Reddick, in 13 games against the Rangers, a .408 average with 16 runs batted in. Former Ranger Jake Smolinski will hit seventh. Marcus Semien, who's a .312 hitter against left-handed pitching, will bat eighth. And the catcher batting ninth is Carson Blair.
Oh, Cole Hamels going to work. Billy Burns, the switch hitter, goes after the first pitch. Beltre cuts it off for 1 pitch and 1 away for Cole Hamels and the Rangers. And we will take a look at our progressive scouting report on Cole Hamels. Pretty simple. Just keep doing what you're doing. Rangers have won his last 6 outings. And 4-1 in 9 starts with the Rangers. 4-0 in his last 7 starts. That ERA continues to go down, and the Rangers extremely pleased to have this 31-year-old right-hander, not only for this year, but for the next couple of years and into the future. They look to have him as the anchor in their starting rotation. Now 1 gone, and Mark Canha now will step in. Canha hitting at .254. And Hamels deals strike 1. Canha with 15 home runs, 66 driven in. A's here in this ballpark, 33-44. That's the worst home winning percentage in the major leagues, or American League, I should say. They're tied with Colorado for the major league lead, and Bob Melvin has had a tough time in 2015. What could go wrong has gone wrong for the A's. Pitching, which has always been a strong point. Canha rips that one by the dive of Elvis for a base hit. Pitching had been so strong here in Oakland for the last 15 years, and now all of a sudden it's kind of an albatross around their neck. Now with Elvis doing some repair work on his left knee. Let's show you the Ranger defense delivered to you by Break Check. Outfield this afternoon, Venable gets a start in left as Shields and Chu rounded out. Rangers 158 double plays. That's the most in the American League. Moreland, Odor, Andrews, and Beltre on the infield. And Chris Jimenez is catching for Cole Hamels. Now 1 on, 1 out. Brett Lowry now comes up. And he takes strike 1. Lowry at .266 average, 16 home runs, and 58 driven in. Lowry coming over from the Toronto Blue Jays in the offseason. That deal had sent Josh Donaldson to Toronto. People still in Oakland bemoaning that trade. So now in the world can you send Josh Donaldson? Of course, that's all in hindsight, too, that Donaldson's had the kind of year he has.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of reasons. 3 reasons that I can think of why Donaldson is having that kind of year. Number 1, he's a really good player and he's a good hitter, but he's surrounded by excellent hitters batting second in that lineup, so he probably gets pitched to a little bit more than he would here. And then they've got the great ballpark to hit in Toronto, which is a little bit better to hit in than this one.
There goes Canha. Hit and run is on. It's fouled away. No, that's exactly right, Tom. I agree with you. People don't give the Rogers Center in Toronto enough due for being a great hitter's ballpark. I mean, it does have the turf, but the ball really seems to jump there too.
Yeah, the ball jumps there. It gets to the wall quick for doubles. So it's a great place for Donaldson to hit in, a great lineup to hit in, and he's a terrific player. So that all adds up to the kind of year he's having. Doesn't mean he would have had that same, because he played that way for Toronto, doesn't mean he would have had the same year for Oakland. In fact, he probably wouldn't. There's no way he would have driven in as many runs as he has there. And wouldn't have had as many base runners or the same hitters surrounding him here.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lowry waits. Double play grounder. Elvis to Odor. Back to Moreland. 6-4-3. That takes care of the A's in the first. No runs a hit and nobody left thanks to the 2 ball. On to the second. Rangers leading 2-0. is with MLB.com At Bat, the #1 app for live baseball. Enjoy live look-ins, highlights, replay reviews, scores, StatCast, live radio broadcasts, and a lot more. Get MLB.com At Bat now. Now some Ranger fans sitting down the right field line here at Odako Coliseum. Rangers come to bat in the top of the second, leading 2-0. And Rougned Odor starting things off against Chris Bassett. Bottom third of the Ranger order. Odor, Venable, and Jimenez. And Rougned showing bunt, takes ball 1. Odor at .269. Hit his 15th home run last night, and he really blasted it into the second deck in right field, about 20 feet in fair territory. Off speed, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
One thing, another little note about Bassett is in the first inning, he has a .630 ERA and a .349 opponent's batting average. So the Rangers added to that statistic.
And Rougned's going to add to his statistic also with that base hit. Starts off the second.
And if you look at the numbers, and it's not a wide sample, he's only had 10 starts for the A's. Generally pitches very well innings 2 through 5 and then struggles slightly after that. But it's been the first inning that's been his worst inning by far, and that held true in this ball game too. 3 hits and a couple of runs for the Rangers. Another base hit for Rougned.
No, the Rangers now with 4 hits. Second time they have gotten their leadoff man aboard. Will Venable up there. Venable getting the start in left field this afternoon. And a pretty good rip at that Bassett fastball. It's 0-1. Will have been getting a lot of work as defensive replacement. The Mike Napoli experiment in left field, and Venable would take over usually in the 5th or 6th inning, depending on how the game was going. So he's appeared in each of the last 12 ball games. Hasn't had a start though since Sunday. 0-2. Sunday was his first start. Go back to the 10th of the month. Last 7 ball games, Venable with a few at bats, not enough to keep himself sharp. 0-2. Bassett back to him. Well, the acquisition from the Padres by the Rangers came over on the 18th of August. It was a .258 hitter. Pretty much an everyday player with San Diego. 1-2 pitch. Venable in San Diego hit .258 with half a dozen home runs and 30 RBI. He's in a streak now, though. He's gone 61 games since his last home run. Came back on July 2nd at St. Louis. Bassett, a check of Odor at first. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Rangers making Chris Bassett work. Have seen a guy that's trying to command all 4 pitches here early in the game, and sometimes that's a difficult thing to do.
One thing they've done, it seems like they've fouled off, and they've got 4 hits. That helps the pitch count. They've also fouled off a bunch of pitches.
Yep.
Extended some of the at-bats.
Odor on the move, and the ground ball is taken care of by the second baseman Lowry. His only play is to first. Still, by moving Odor on the pitch, Rangers stay out of the double play, and Rougned now in scoring position with 1 away for Chris Jimenez.
It hasn't really been a case of Bassett not being able to find the strike zone. He's thrown his share of strikes as the Rangers have had good swings at him, prolonged the at-bats, and gotten some base hits.
Yeah, I think you find a guy that's coming back off some shoulder problems. If you can make him throw a lot of pitches in an inning,
yeah,
it'll wear him out pretty quickly. Stamina is probably an issue, and Rangers would like to get into that bullpen as early as possible. Jimenez takes strike 1. Chris, a .260 average, 5 home runs, 14 driven in. Both those power numbers career highs for Chris. On base percentage at .337. He's done a very nice job swinging the bat along with handling the pitching staff, and most notably Cole Hamels. Chris has been behind the plate for most of Cole Hamels' starts. Odor thought he had a great jump, and all of a sudden, oops.
he did have a pretty good jump. Almost too good a jump. If they had the pickoff play, they would have had him.
Yeah.
They reacted to him, but they didn't have a planned pickoff play.
Bassett set for the 0-1 pitch. Little looping drive over the leap of Lowry into right center field. Odor had to wait to make sure it was going to clear the glove, and he did, but he only advances to third. Jimenez with the base hit. Runners at first and third now with one out, and Delino to Shields coming up.
You know, that's one of those plays as a base runner. You get a pretty good jump on the ball, and then you see it hit, and you go, oh man, he might catch that ball, and so you stop. But the reality is you're so far toward third base. Nope, he stopped in time. I take that back. But a lot of times you see the runner be 2/3 of the way to third base, and you might as well just keep going because you're going to be out anyway. Rougned stopped in time, I think, to get back. That was actually a pretty good reaction to that.
One away. Rangers looking for more in the score column. The liner to Shields and a base hit to center that opened up the first inning for the Rangers. Trying to bunt his way on, and bunts it back over the screen.
Well, you got to make a good bunt. If you're going to bunt it right there toward first base, it's got no margin for error. It's got to go between the pitcher and the first baseman, because the first baseman is right on top of him, charging the ball, and on a safety squeeze, I don't think you can score the runner from third unless you get it by the first baseman.
And you've got a right-hander who typically is going to fall off toward first base a little bit anyway, so that makes that space between them even less.
Pretty narrow.
The 0-1 to Delino. Now 0-2. Big thing for DeShields now is to get the ball, put the ball in play somewhere. Delino pretty tough to double up with his great speed. Got Odor down at third, and Chris Jimenez over at first. Rangers leading 2-0, looking for more here in the second.
Adrian faced the same situation, down a couple of strikes, man on third, less than 2 outs. Made some good contact, got a good pitch to hit, got the hanging curveball.
1-2. Now Bassett, as I'm sure you can see already, a couple of different kinds of fastballs. He'll throw a two-seam fastball, which sinks or runs in a little bit on right-handers, and a four-seamer that is either dead straight or has a little cutting action to it going into a left-hander. Also the curve and the slider and a changeup. And a base hit to right field. I don't know how in the world Delino did that. In to score is Odor. Stopping at second is Jimenez. The Rangers lead it 3-0.
Looked like he got the hanger too. That one hung up there. He was actually fooled by it a little bit. He started his swing, but he was able to stop momentarily, keeping his hands back, and then get the bat through the zone and just bloop it over second. That's pretty good control of your body in the bat right there.
Sure is.
Well, the Rangers have hit a couple of balls hard, but they've also blooped a couple in.
A little flinch in there, and then got it going again.
That's the second ball that Delino's blooped in. Jimenez hit one softly over second, so Rangers figuring out a way to get it over the infield in front of the outfielders.
Now first and second, a run across, still just one out. Chu went through with a swing, according to third base umpire Jordan Baker. Shin-Soo had a double, hit it off the 362 mark right next to the out-of-town scoreboard in right field. Ball really carried out there. Chu driving in his 72nd run of the year. Jimenez away from second. The Shields from first, and Chu now down on the count. No balls and 2 strikes. In September, Nobody better than Shin-Soo Choo in the American League. A 410 average, or 419 average. That's 9 points better than Mookie Betts. And those are the only two above 400 in the league for the month. Jimenez peering in from his leadoff point at second. Now Bassett and Blair having a little trouble getting together. Jimenez trailed by DeShields. Chu waiting for the 0-2 pitch. Chris Bassett hasn't had much trouble getting ahead 0-2 today, but he has had a lot of trouble getting from 0-2 to the next hitter. He has just one strikeout. That was Mitch Moreland back in the first inning. Like a slider there that got in on Chu, but he fouled it off. Yeah, going back to what you were talking about, Tom, the guy's fouling off a lot of pitches. Typically, at least my experience, that's when a pitcher is just off enough with his fastball command and the movement on the pitch to make it a hittable pitch, but not one you can center up.
Yeah. A lot of them have not been right down the middle of the plate. They've been fairly effective in their location, but not effective enough for him to get an out. Another one, fastball in, up and in, kind of jammed him a little bit, fought it off. The ball that Chu hit off the wall was a fastball in, a little lower than that last pitch. Definitely looks like Bassett is trying to throw him in. There's times when you can throw him in, but when he's swinging the bat pretty well, he's not affected by that fastball in very much in a negative way,
especially when it's down. Almost impossible right now to throw Chu a fastball down and in and expect him not to have a good swing.
Yeah, for sure.
If you could throw it up, get it up above his or at his letters or above, you might have a chance if he gets a little over anxious. But boy, anything down right now, he is, well, for the last 2 months, he has just been crushing it. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
With all the foul balls, 7 pitches in each one of Chu's at bats.
Got him swinging this time. Went away about waist high. That is the second strikeout for Bassett. 2 gone, and it brings up Prince Fielder.
Now batting, number 84, Prince Fielder.
Good movement. You can see it right at the end, that ball go from left to right.
So Bassett facing Fielder for the second time. The A's going to the overshift. 3 defenders on the right side of the infield for Prince. Fielder grounded into that shift the first time, grounding out to the second baseman Lowry. Hitting this time with Jimenez at second and DeShields at first. Big slow curveball that stayed high for ball 1.
Occasionally you'll see that pitch called a strike. Drops right on top of the strike zone. More often than not, you won't see it called a strike. It's out of the strike zone all the way high. Drops down and just barely touches the top. Hitter definitely doesn't appreciate that ball being called a strike.
Yeah, I'd say you see it called a strike and you see a hitter going crazy. Or at least
and if you're the pitcher, you say, hey, check the Fox tracks out. Looked like a strike on that.
I'm not sure I know many pitchers, though, that could say they honestly tried to throw a curveball at the top of the strike zone. Maybe they did. Maybe I'm being fooled. 2 balls, no strikes. Fielder waiting. And Bassett back to him.
Go boy.
Prince had one to work with there that was up and fouled it off. 2-1.
Bassett has thrown a ton of pitches, 46 pitches, but he's got a good strike to ball ratio. He's only thrown 11 balls and 35 strikes. But the Rangers have 6 hits and a good number of foul balls. A lot of those are the strikes that he's been throwing.
You know, Prince has done a great job against the Oakland A's. Last 17 ball games, he's hit .333. He's had 8 RBI in those 17 games. Chance here to add to the Ranger lead. Lowry up with it and on to first. That'll do it. Rangers add 1. They had 3 hits. They lead 2 after 1.5. The Rangers 3, the A's nothing. Use hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan, and your photo might be seen on one of our upcoming broadcasts. It's all made possible by the good folks at T-Mobile. We will show you our selection for today a little bit later on. Cole Hamels back out to the hill, leading 3-0. Going to work here in the bottom of the second. Danny Valencia starting things off, and he hits a two-hopper to his counterpart, Adrian Beltre. One pitch and one away. That's exactly how the first inning began, with Billy Burns grounding out to Beltre on the first pitch. Next will be Billy Butler. Well, it's significant that the Rangers should score 3 early for Cole Hamels. Significant from the standpoint of, if you believe in these things, Cole Hamels going back to the start of 2014, start of the last year, so almost 2 full years, is 19-2 when he gets 3 runs or more of support. And that should bode pretty well, I think. There are 2 losses in there, and I don't have the breakdown as to how many runs were scored in the games that he lost, but 19 wins out of 21 decisions with 2 or more or 3 or more runs. That's fairly significant. Butler, a .250 hitter, 13 home runs, 62.
I'm looking to make it a little easier for him. I'm looking for the or more.
Or more?
Yeah.
The 3 or more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want the or more.
The or more. The OM. Changeup is wide. It's 2 balls and a strike. Butler in his last 12 ball games now in a pretty good downturn. He came off a streak where he had a lot going for him. He grounds out to Elvis here for out number 2.
Oh, what a nice pickup. It looked like just a routine play, but I guess it is for Elvis or most big league shortstops. But you go in the hole like that, you get a little tricky hop. Don't even worry about the hop. Goes right in the middle of your glove. Another accurate throw across the diamond from Elvis. Mentioned in the pregame show, he'd only made 1 error in his last 39 games. And I think throughout his career, when he's had some times where he's made errors, people have made the comment, a lot of them are routine plays, and it's just being a little careless, lack of concentration. And he's talked about that, working with Tony Beasley and being able to concentrate on every pitch all the time. It pretty much shows what everybody's been saying, that the natural talent is very evident. And now with the concentration on every pitch, you see the kind of defense that he's capable of playing. Making the amount of spectacular plays and really nice plays that you'd hope a guy would make. But more importantly, He's not making errant throws or booting the routine grounder. He's turning every routine ground ball into an out.
Yeah, and you saw the number of chances he gets during the game too. It, more than anybody else, any other shortstop in the American League.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, and that tells you he's getting to a lot of balls that other guys either don't, or they're out of position or what have you. But Elvis is not only making the plays, he's getting to a lot more than most guys do.
Yeah, and that's true with Rubnet too. So
yeah.
You've got the two guys up the middle, as we've already talked about, showing, based on those statistics, what appears to be a lot of range, in addition to being very competent when they do catch the ball.
One ball and 2 strikes to count to Josh Reddick. Reddick a .272 average. It is 20th home run of the year last night. And Cole Hamels making him jackknife out of the way of that tailing fastball. Well, Hamels, in comparison to his counterpart, Chris Bassett, Cole's had 21 total pitches as he has 2 outs here in the second. Slowly hit to third. Beltre, bare hands, can't get the play. And Reddick able to reach with a 2-out single. Well, Beltre playing deep and off the line at third with a left-handed hitter up there, and that was no play possible.
Batting in the 7th position, left fielder, number 5, Jake Smolinski.
And I still don't know how he throws him down there and going away from first base and gets it anywhere near Mitch Moreland.
Flick of the wrist.
Yep. No, the second hit for the A's this afternoon. Jake Smolinski now will come up. Infield hits the A's the most in the American League, 152. And a changeup floats in for strike 1. Jake with the A's has hit .234. Was claimed off the waiver wire by Oakland. Rangers put him on waivers after they designated him for assignment. Pulls that one foul, and 0-2 now the count. Remember last year when Smolinski and Ryan Rua came to the major leagues for the first time. They both got off to good starts, but Jake really got off to the fastest start. Then he broke his foot that day in Yankee Stadium last year. Foul went off his foot. He'd gotten off to a start. He was hitting 375 or 380 at the time. Reddick on the move. The pitch is in the dirt, and a stolen base for Reddick. Reddick guessed correctly on the pitch. It's his 9th stolen base. He is in scoring position now with 2 outs. It's a situation where Cole was not really concerned with the runner. He was trying to make a good pitch to get out of the inning. 1-2 now to Smolinski. We'll try it again. Jake, in 35 games this year with the Rangers, was hitting just .133. That's sent down to AAA. Tore up the Pacific Coast League. Came over to the A's and spent some time at Sacramento in the Pacific Coast League. Tore it up there too. Another chopper foul. Josh Reddick out at second. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Rangers on top 3-0. Hamels trying to keep the A's scoreless. Reddick going to third, and the pitch is inside. Reddick steals third. And the count now 2-2.
That almost looked like defensive indifference.
Yeah. Beltre just standing there kind of watching Reddick go by. Nobody even considered throwing. Changeup is outside, so the count has gone full now. Smolinski hitting 7th in the order. He'll be followed by the shortstop, Marcus Semien. Hamels continuing to work from the stretch with Reddick at third. Left-hander is ready. The payoff pitch. In the air to center field. Delino in a hurry, and he makes the catch and drops it. Everybody's safe. Delino to Shields had it pop right out of his glove. Reddick is in to score. Smolinski on. It's now a 3-1 Ranger lead.
Yeah, that's one you won't see very often. He had to go a long way for that ball. Looked like it might be a little Texas leaguer that fell in front of him. But he closed on it, got to it, just didn't catch it.
Now, the scorer is going to give Jake Smolinski a base hit on that. And
that's not a hit.
I agree with you. It's not.
That's why, I mean, you had to run a long way to get it, but when you catch the ball belt high or higher right in the middle of your glove and it bounces out, that's not a hit.
So it cuts the Ranger advantages to 2 runs now, 3-1. Marcus Semien, a .257 hitter, at the plate to face Cole Hamels. One ball, no strikes.
Changed it to an error.
They changed it to an error. Okay, I'd buy that.
Yeah, that shouldn't even have been under consideration.
Semien, 13 home runs, 42 driven in. Called strike. 2-1. Paul Himmel, by the way, the home plate umpire this afternoon. 7-game hitting streak for the A's shortstop, and a .360 average over those 7 games. Hamels working that fastball in on him, gets the foul ball. It's 2-2. In a few high clouds now flitting by overhead. It kind of cuts down the high sky a little bit. Give you some kind of background to at least use on the fly balls. Wispy, high cirrus clouds up there floating by. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now 3-2.
Yeah, he's doing a pretty good job of laying off the changeup down and out of the strike zone. Smolinski laid off a couple of them. Cole in his last start against Seattle pitched 7 innings, didn't walk a batter, and struck out 12.
3-2 with 2 outs. Runner on the move, got him swinging. Semien gone on the changeup. Hamels gets his first strikeout. A's get a run. It was unearned on a hit and an error. They lead 1 after 2. 3-1 Rangers. season tickets. You place a deposit before tomorrow, you can guarantee a seat for any 2015 postseason games. Just visit TexasRangers.com/seasons to place your deposit today. Well, the Rangers leading 3-1 now as Adrian Beltre gets ready to lead off the Ranger third. It'll be Beltre, Moreland, and Andrus to face Chris Bassett. Bassett with 47 pitches under his belt through the first 2 innings. Beltre had an RBI single back in the first. Takes high for ball 1. Adrian now 68 driven in this year. He is very quickly climbing the ladder in the Ranger hierarchy for driving in runs. Two balls, no strikes. Beltre also on this trip now 5 for 10. And even I can figure it out. That's pretty close to a 500.
How close is it?
Pretty close. I don't want to be committed about giving the exact answer just in case I'm wrong. Two and one the count. Bassett to the wind. 3 balls and a strike. Adrian trying to get aboard to start off this third inning. Rangers have had their leadoff man aboard in each of the first 2 innings. Mitch Moreland is going to be the next hitter. 3-1 to Adrian.
Well, last night it was noticeable that Adrian was using that little guard on his thumb. I don't see it right now, which probably indicates that hand is not completely healed.
Yeah.
And probably won't be till well into the offseason.
Right down the third baseline, Valencia throws out Beltre, 1 gone. And before Mitch Moreland steps in, let's send it back to John Radigan for a Mazda game break.
Mitch Moreland.
All right, John, thank you. Yeah, big series coming up. Rangers, though, have some work to do here in the Bay Area before they head down to Houston. Mitch Moreland, big swing for strike 1. Mitch went down swinging his first time against Bassett. This one of Mitch's favorite parks. Matter of fact, this may be his most favorite road park to hit in. Has more home runs and RBI here than any other park away from Arlington. 10 home runs, 23 lifetime RBI. This year, Moreland has hit .333. A .283 overall average for Mitch. Moreland with that 4-game hitting streak coming into play this afternoon. Reaches out and pokes it out of play down the left side. Still, no balls and 2 strikes. Rangers put 2 on the board in the first, 1 more in the second. He's answered with an unearned run in the bottom of the second. Bassett winds and another 1-2 pitch. Pitch with a top slugging percentage of any of the regulars on the Rangers this year, .498. Matter of fact, that's the 11th in the American League.
He's probably had more than his share of big home runs for the Rangers in the middle innings when the Rangers needed it, either to tie a game or put the Rangers ahead. Big home run in the first game of this series. Rangers down 5-3 in the middle of the game. He hit that ball to dead center field at night, on a night when the ball really didn't look like it was carrying that well. Didn't bother him.
No,
it didn't bother Elvis last night, but we felt the ball was carrying a little better last night than it was the first night.
Now the payoff pitch got him swinging. Pitch going after it outside, and he has struck out for the second time. 3 strikeouts now for Bassett, 2 away, and Elvis coming up.
That's the same pitch he struck out on the first pitch, on the first time up. And when Bassett keeps the ball out there, that ball just sailed away from him, tailed away from him, kind of like a flat left-handed slider. Same thing the first time. Looked like a strike partway to the plate. And then with that movement, it took it well out of the strike zone, made it tough to hit.
Bassett drops in that slow hook for strike 1. Elvis fouled out to the catcher Blair his first time up there. Same pitch.
That's the pitch that Delino hit into right field for an RBI hit. Same one Adrian hit into left field for an RBI hit. Only they weren't down there. They were hanging about bell high. Might not have been able to make the same contact if he delivered the ball at the bottom part of the strike zone like he did that pitch.
0-2 to count to Elvis. Now 1-2.
94 with his fastball.
Yeah, pretty good spread on velocity. Difference between the fastball and the fastball's been 94, 95. Slow curveball's right around 70. And a few in between. 2 balls, 2 strikes. But Bassett, and I think you find this in a lot of young pitchers, that you get ahead 0-2. Now what do you do? How do you get from 0-2 to the next hitter? He's had trouble figuring that out. It's just off the inside corner. It's now a full count.
He's got a lot of movement with his fastball on that side of the plate, boy. Pretty close, but he didn't get the call.
Bassett with a payoff pitch to Elvis. Well, lost him. Well, the Rangers get their number 6 hitter aboard, and now Rougned Odor will come up.
It's going to cost him a few more pitches probably. He's at 66 pitches right now, not out of the 3rd inning.
And for Chris Bassett, that's his first base on balls that he's had this afternoon. Odor touched him up for a single leading off the 2nd inning. Rougned came around to score on Delino DeShield's base hit. See if Elvis has his running shoes on over there. Elvis 20 stolen bases this year. Changeup floats in for strike 1. Dan Otero loosening in that A's bullpen. We mentioned Chris Bassett in his first start today since the 26th of August. So he's on a fairly strict pitch count, nearing the 70 pitch level here this afternoon. 0-2 to Odor. Rangers 3 runs on 6 hits. A's 1 run on 2 hits. Rangers committed the only error and led directly to a run in the bottom of the 2nd. Infield and outfield playing Odor around to the right. Infield almost in an extreme overshift. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, just a couple of steps to the 3rd base side of 2nd. Lowry right in that in-between spot. He's not all the way back, but he's not on the skin of the infield either. Elvis on the move that time and pitch foul back. Still 0-2.
Elvis probably could have stolen that base standing up.
No, Elvis retreating to first. Odor will get back into the box. No balls and 2 strikes.
Do you think a player who wears his pants like Elvis could run faster if he wore his pants like Odor?
I don't know.
Seems like it would.
If he had better speed.
Baggy pants down around your ankles as opposed to a tight sock.
I don't know.
Seems like that would promote speed.
Sharply hit. Lowry recovers, throws. It's too late. Everybody is safe, and that is going to be an error on Brent Lowry.
Well, the walk of Elvis prolonged the inning for Bassett, cost him 4 or 5 pitches. The error is going to do the same thing. This will be his 70th pitch. So his day is not going to last too many innings. Lowry got to that ball and didn't have much success once he got there.
No. And lost the solid footing out there.
See if Will can make him pay for it. 2-out walk, 2-out error, first and second.
The A's got a run on a direct result of an error last half inning. We'll see if the Rangers can't repay the favor. And Venable takes the pitch low for ball 1. Venable grounded out to second base, his first time at the plate. Average now in a Ranger uniform at 182. Trying to increase his RBI total. As you can see, it stands at 3. Got Andrus at second, Odor at first. 2 outs in the top of the 3rd inning. 1 ball and 1 strike. Venable, an 8-year Major League veteran. All of his time in the San Diego organization. Up the middle, that's right where Semien is stationed. He steps on the bag, that'll do it. Rangers no runs, no hits. They had an error in the Strand 2. After 2.5, Rangers 3 and the A's 1. Is brought to you by your Texas Ford dealers. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Now, world famous Lombard Street in downtown San Francisco. Crookedest street in the world.
You ever been down it?
Yep.
I have too.
Sure have.
Pretty neat. See it in a lot of movies.
Uh-huh. Cole Hamels going back to work here in the bottom of the 3rd, and Carson Blair, the catcher, takes strike 1. It'll be Blair, Burns, and Canna. First 3 A's to face Hamels. Blair hitting at 143, a home run and 3 driven in, and his 3rd RBI in last night's game. 1 ball and 1 strike. I mentioned Blair getting most of the action behind home. And you can see he's had a little problem putting the ball in play. 17 strikeouts in 10 games. That's off the end of the bat out to Odor. One gone. Now back to the top of the order. And Billy Burns. Pat Venditti, the switch pitcher, warming up right-handed. He'll take. Does it take him twice as long to get loose? Guys?
I think it probably does, but he might be one of those guys that doesn't need a lot of pitches. But I guess technically you'd have to get just as loose from one side as the other.
You know, he raises a lot of questions you don't normally think about.
Yeah.
Well, Billy Burns swung at the first pitch that he saw from Hamels, put it in play for a ground ball to Beltre. He takes the pitch here for ball one. Burns at 296 now after he's 0 for 1. Slices that one down the first base side and goes foul. Well, Burns, I guess the definition of a slashing hitter from both sides of the plate. You slap the ball on the ground and run like the wind, and he does that. 9th triple of the season last night. Second most in Oakland history by a rookie. Luis Polonia back in '87 had 10. And again fouled off to the right. And now Venditti has gone over to the left side.
You know, there has to be in every ballpark a number of fans that have no idea that guy can throw with both hands. They look down there one moment he's throwing right, they go, man, they just got somebody else up down there. Looks just like the other guy.
Yeah, it's his twin. Ball and 2 strikes to Burns. Hamels not wasting any time. Back to the plate he comes. Just a little bit inside. Where'd that come from?
Well, like a changeup that he just, held on to too long?
Yeah.
That ball barely got to the dirt. No damage done, though. Just a ball. Could have been an inch outside. Would have been the same call.
Scared Billy Burns. Ball bounced behind him. Now the 2-2 pitch. Check swing. Did he go? No, he did not. Peeled down to first. And Andy Fletcher says, nah. So the count now has gone full. Burns trying to get aboard with 1 out. Mark Canha, the first baseman, is in the on-deck circle. Hamels with a payoff pitch. Lost him. First walk of the afternoon for Hamels.
Cole didn't walk anybody in his last start, and I guess if you're going to say you're going to walk anybody, this would be the one guy you wouldn't want to walk.
Yeah.
Burns hits his way on plenty of times. He's almost a 300 hitter, but he's a good base stealer as well. Want to walk the slow guys and make the fast guys hit their way on.
A 1 on, 1 out. Mark Canha had a base hit to left field his first time. What Tom was just talking about with Cole Hamels, our Kubota power stats. Last time out, 12 strikeouts, his high watermark in a Ranger uniform. 6th career game with 10+ strikeouts and no walks. 0-1, the count to Canha. Little cat and mouse game now. Cole Hamels and Billy Burns. Burns 26 out of 34 in stolen base attempts, a little bit better than 75%. Just off the outer edge. A ball and a strike. Now, the one thing you don't want to do if you're Cole Hamels is split your concentration between first base and the plate.
Yeah, Cole had a quick first inning, but he's throwing some pitches himself right now. Double play sure would help. He's already had one of those.
Goes to a slide step. Misses down and away. 2-1. And 104 hits this year in his rookie campaign. That's 4th among American League rookies. He and Billy Burns, the runner at first, having great rookie campaigns. Right back to Hamels. To Odor. Back to first. There you go. Just what you wanted, Tom.
Absolutely.
And just what Cole Hamels and the Rangers wanted. 1-4-3. And the A's are gone in the 3rd. No runs, no hits, nobody left. After 3, the Rangers by 2.
And I told you yesterday about the pre-batting practice football type huddle that the Rangers had. Prince Fielder, Adrian Beltre in the middle of that huddle giving the team a message. So I inquired about that message today. Adrian and Prince both looked at me, kind of laughed and said it wasn't serious, just had a little conversation. And I said, well, I'm gonna make some stuff up then as far as what you said. And they said, have at it. You make it up, and whatever you say, I promise we'll both stand behind you and we'll confirm it. So then I said, all right, I'm going with, you guys got deep, went philosophical, and quoted Socrates in that pre-batting practice huddle. And they both looked at me and laughed, and then Prince said, you mean Socrates? And I said, of course I do. So that's what I'm going with, a deep, philosophical, Socrates-laden, get the team fired up, pre-batting practice huddle yesterday, guys.
You know where Socrates comes from?
I don't. Please tell.
That's Bill and Ted's
Excellent adventure. Look at you, pop culture Tom Grieve. I like it. I like it.
Good reporting, Em. That's need to know stuff.
You know who else was in that? Miss of Arc.
Miss of Arc?
Yeah, they called Joan of Arc. They called her, when they met her, they called her Miss of Arc.
Yeah. Makes sense to me.
I'm going to go back and watch that movie again. That was a good movie.
You piqued your own interest.
Yeah, that was good.
Pat Venditti is the new pitcher, so he is out there pitching right-handed to Chris Jimenez. Chris 1 for 1 today. Venditti in his 22nd ball game of the year. The Oakland A's 1-2 with a 5.24 ERA. It's a strike to the outside corner to even the count now at 2-2.
The A's had one of those similar meetings today, probably a different topic. But the interesting part about watching the Ranger one, every single person was looking right into the middle of that pack, listening to them talk when the A's did it. There was about 5 guys looking and 15 guys doing whatever they wanted to do, talking with their backs turned to it, so it didn't look like it had the same effect on the A's.
A's is one of those little league meetings where you got kids sitting down there and playing in the dirt. And
no attention span.
Yeah. And Chris Jimenez with his second hit of the afternoon. Rifles one to right.
Boy, that was
a leadoff single
shot. That was a low rope. That almost got by Reddick out in the outfield. Reddick talked about the balls that he missed. He said one he just booted, the one on the warning track, but the other one, it did have a little bit to do with the turf out there. He said he was a little overly aggressive after it. No, you have to be a little more cautious this time of year after the football games. Well, that ball really skimmed out there, and he had to backhand it to cut it off.
No, 1 on, nobody out. That's the 3rd time now in 4 innings the Rangers have had their leadoff man aboard. And speaking of leadoff men, here is the Ranger leadoff man himself, Delino DeShields. Delino, 2 for 2, a pair of singles, an RBI. He has scored a run. And he's also had a stolen base, so he's had a busy day already. Vendetti going to work on Chris Jimenez. A couple of days ago with this combination, Delino DeShields, despite having 10 triples, Jeff Bannister put the hit and run on with Delino at the plate. Delino complied by grounding a base hit to right field. No balls and a strike. Look at the infield deployment for the A's. Both Semien and Lowry up at double play depth, and up maybe even a step inside double play depth with Delino at the plate. He runs extremely well. 1 ball, 1 strike. We'll go back to the field conditions. That's coming off a Marlins bat. You got to remember, Reddick is one of the better outfielders, better fielding outfielders in the game, and this is the one you're talking about. He felt like he was over aggressive.
Yeah, and I think not that those were impossible hops, but they're not the normal hops. It's much harder out there. When the ball bounces a little bit higher, it goes a little bit faster. When the grass is plush like that, a ground ball slows down a little bit, doesn't tend to hop the same way. So again, it's not something that's impossible to catch, but you might not be able to be quite as aggressive charging it as you would on the softer turf out there at the beginning of it.
Breaking ball swerves off the outer edge. It's 2-1 now to Delino. DeShields, after the 2 base hits, now has that average back up to 260. Rodriguez, the right-hander, loosening in that A's bullpen. In the air to center field, Burns has it under control. 1 gone, back to first goes Jimenez. And another ball that probably was affected by the conditions, that line drive that Will Venable hit to left field.
Yeah, that ball definitely got by Canna because of the turf and how hard it was. And you mentioned it almost looked like it bounced on a turnpike. With the plush grass that they have here most of the year, it's still going to go fast because it was hit hard and the grass is cut low, but it would slow down enough to where Canna might have been able to get over and cut it off. It didn't have much chance on that one. It just doesn't slow it down enough.
Shin-Soo Choo, a double and an RBI in 2 trips to the plate. Also scored a run back in the first inning. Pops this one up. Shallow left field. He got a trio of A's going after it. Semien, the shortstop, drops it. And the throw back to second base is in time to get Jimenez.
What a comeback after he dropped it. And Chris saw him get to the ball, made the assumption he was going to catch it, started to go back, then saw that he dropped it, and by the time he got to second, it's very Rangers are going to look at it. But watch how quickly he picks it up and throws to second. Knew exactly what to do with it, and the ball took 1 big hop and bounced right to him.
And Joey Probinski upstairs took a look at the replay, and you can see what he saw. And let Steve Buechele know his opinion. That was passed on to Jeff Bannister, and Chris Jimenez said, "Okay, that's the way it's going to be. I'll come back to the bench."
Well, Semien was able to turn an error into an assist.
No, it gives Chu a fielder's choice to reach first base. Here's Prince Fielder.
Boy.
1 ball, no strikes. Looks like a routine 6-4 put out at second in the scorebook.
Yes, I know. Put a little asterisk next to it.
Yeah, he threw that one from
really
the
know
bullpen.
what happened. Yeah, that was nice. He made a nice play, nice recovery.
Fielder twice today has grounded out to second.
Boy.
Pops one in the air to the left side, and that'll be back into the crowd. 1 ball and 1 strike. The numbers we were talking about for Prince in Oakland the last 17 ball games. A .333 average. Or I should say against Oakland, not in this ballpark necessarily. Prince, though, struggling on the road. He's been struggling for him for about a month and a half now. Prince, in his last 10 road games, has gone 3 for 34. Check swing. He went around. 1-2. Mentioned last night, Fielder on the doorstep of the longest offer that he had as a major leaguer. Snapped an 0 for 20 streak with a base hit last night. 0 for 22, his longest streak as a big leaguer. Takes that outside. It's 2-2 now. Still up among the league leaders in a lot of categories. Fifth in on-base percentage. 5th in hits. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, Venditti struggling a bit here against Fielder. Prince trying to extend this 4th inning. Adrian Beltre will follow. With 2 outs now and a full count, Chu will have the advantage of a running start. On the move, got him swinging. Breaking ball from Venditti, and the strikeout ends the Ranger 4th. No runs, a hit, and 1 man left after 3.5. 3-1 Rangers. Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. And by Mazda. In every car we make, you'll see why driving matters. It's Tom coming over to the ballpark today. Shortcut across the bay.
I don't think so.
No?
Those look amazing.
You wouldn't try the jetpack?
I don't think so. I hurt my knee bowling the other day, so I don't think I'm going to try that.
Cole Hamels dealing to Brett Lowry.
I would have given it a shot when I was the same age or whoever's on it right now. But
yeah.
Not now.
Lowry grounded into a double play his first time up, and Cole Hamels all of a sudden going back to last inning, having trouble. He's trying to hit the third base side of home plate, and yanking that pitch into the dirt down at a right-hand hitter's feet or away from the left-hander.
It's definitely not his normal strike to ball ratio. 23 strikes, 23 balls, 30 strikes. And he's really benefited from the 2 double plays.
And he loses Lowry on a 4-pitch walk.
That is definitely not Cole Hamels walking 2 guys like that within 3 batters.
Yep. A 1 on, nobody out, and Danny Valencia now will face Hamels. They need to be careful. The A's were kind of down early energy-wise in this ball game. Rangers jumped out early and established a lead, but A's trying to pick up on Hamels losing a little bit. You get them excited, all of a sudden you got a different ball game. It's only a 2-run game right now.
Yeah, he's thrown 3 ball counts to 4 of the last 6 hitters, so he is definitely not getting quick outs right now, and pitch counts running up there a little bit.
Valencia, a ground ball to third his first time. Good off-speed pitch that floats in for strike 1. Valencia hitting at .284 as an Oakland A. .290 overall. Popped up foul. That will reach the seats. Jimenez over to take a look, but it's well back over the Ranger dugout. No, 0-2. And just as soon as I started raising doubts about Cole Hamels and his command, he comes back and makes 2 good pitches, so I can turn around that quickly. Get the feel back and get a little positive confidence going. 0-2. Ranger infield, a step around to the left. Outfield in a similar fashion. Odor. Andrews.
Slick.
How easy they make that look.
I'm thinking, oh no, a bad hop. Is he going to be able to catch it? And he just nonchalantly catches it and turns it into a double play. So Cole's command may not quite be what he is normally, but he's gotten the double play balls, 3 of them now in 4 innings. And like you say, Buzz, after the walk, command looked like it came right back in that at bat for Valencia.
Yep. He got a little bull-necked. A very well-turned double play. 3rd one, as Tom said, of the afternoon. And base is empty now, 2 away for Billy Butler. And he takes strike 1. Hey, that play was not as easy as Rugden made it look.
No. And Elvis had one earlier that we showed that he made look easy. It kind of backhanded a tricky hop right in the middle of his glove, turned it into a simple out. They make it look a lot easier than it really is.
0-2 the count to Butler. Still no balls, 2 strikes. Butler ground ball to short. That was back in the 2nd. A's with just 2 hits. Had 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 2nd. 1 in the 2nd coupled with an error produced the only Oakland run. Here's a little closer pitch inside, 1-2. Thirty-one-year-old Cole Hamels back to the plate, gets the foul ball. Hamels out of the San Diego area. Spent all of his time in the Phillies organization. He was a #1 draft pick by the Phillies. He has been one of the best the last 8 years at the big league level. Call, strike 3. Got the call on the inside corner, knee high, and Billy Butler can't believe it. Hamels with his second strikeout, and the A's are gone in the fourth. After 4, Rangers 3, A's 1. Season. This Tuesday, the first 15,000 fans will receive a Yu Darvish gnome thanks to Nitto Tire. Get to TexasRangers.com to get your tickets for the last giveaway of the season. Now, Fernando Rodriguez is the new Oakland pitcher. He is on now to take over in the 5th inning. So Bob Melvin using the starter Chris Bassett for 3, and now he's gone to the bullpen. Rangers will send Adrian Beltre, Mitch Moreland, and Elvis Andrus up to begin things. Rodriguez in his 51st game of the year. He has that 4-2 record. Beltre 1 for 2 this afternoon, and an RBI single back in the first. Rangers leading 3-1. They about hit the A's 7-2. Both ball clubs committing an error. Rodriguez to the plate, and Beltre pops up the first pitch back behind home plate, and it's in the seats. 0-1. Fernando Rodriguez, 31-year-old out of El Paso, came over from the Houston Astros along with Jed Lowry in the deal that sent Chris Carter, Brad Peacock, and Max Stassi to Houston. That was right before the 2013 season. Check swing, it's a strike, and it's 0-2. Adrian batting at an even 280. It is as high as he has been all year, and still very difficult to strike out. 5th best ratio in the American League. 1 strikeout every 9.3 times to the plate. A ball and 2 strikes. Outfield and infield play Beltre slightly around to the left. Semien gets a nice convenient second hop. That is out number 1. Folks, Southwest Airlines is celebrating the arrival of 8 new nonstop destinations out of Dallas Love Field. Just go to southwest.com/RangersLove to enter to win round trip tickets. One away, base is empty for Mitch Moreland. Moreland has had 2 at-bats this afternoon. They were both against Chris Bassett, and Bassett struck him out both times. Fernando Rodriguez with the first pitch. Moreland with that .283 average as he stands at the plate. Two and 0. Moreland in his last 13 ball games. This goes back to the homestand. One game before that, and then of course the 2 games here. 5 home runs, 14 RBI in those 13 games. Three balls and no strikes. So Mitch in a hitter's count, looking to get aboard here in the 5th inning. Elvis Andrus will follow. Rangers have had 1 walk this afternoon. We'll see if Rodriguez can make it a pair. 3-1. Rodriguez nods in agreement. The right-hander is set. And Mitch takes low. Ball 4. He works the 1-out walk. He is aboard with Elvis coming up. So Mitch on down to first, and Elvis at the plate. Elvis drew the other walk that the Rangers had this afternoon. That was back in the 3rd inning. Got as far as second base and was stranded there. You know, we talked about the Ranger offense, the resurgent Ranger offense. Not only the batting average, the Rangers have hit .300 in their last 12 ball games. The on-base percentage has continued to climb. They entered play today with the 5th best on-base percentage in the American League at .324. Not only are they getting a lot of balls in play successfully for base hits, but getting on base at a pretty good rate.
Well, we've talked about what Shin-Soo Choo is hitting. He's also walked 10 times in his last 12 games. His on-base percentage is way over .400 since the All-Star break. So he's kind of keyed that resurgence in the base percentage. Rangers over the last 10 days have been the best offensive team in baseball. 18 runs the last 2 days.
Elvis takes strike 2. Moreland a modest lead at first as Rodriguez checks him. One ball and 2 strikes. The Rangers have had pretty good luck in this ballpark. That was not always the case. But, the Rangers here in Oakland, they're 5-4 this year, and since the start of last year, the 2014 season, they've gone 12-6 in this park. Now the A's have won the 2-season series. Elvis dumps one into foul territory, and can't get over there in time. Still 1 ball and 2 strikes. Rodriguez a look over his shoulder at Mitch Moreland. Another foul ball. You know, the Rangers, an opportunity here this afternoon to increase their lead in the AL West. The Astros are idle today. Rangers with a win here this afternoon could move to 3.5 games ahead of Houston going into a 3-game series with the Astros.
That would put them 14 games over 500. What was the lowest they ever were? 8 games under?
8 games under. Yeah, they're
since that point in time, 8-16. Rangers have been 22 games over 500 if they win today.
Well, the A's turn the double play on Elvis. One hop shot to Semien. No runs, no hits, nobody left. We played half the ball game in Oakland. It's the Rangers 3 and the A's 1. And historic performances. Now, don't miss the 2015 postseason beginning October the 6th. Go to MLB.com/postseason, and you get a full broadcast schedule of the postseason this year. Now, Cole Hamels back to the hill, and he is facing Josh Reddick to start things off. Reddick had an infield single his first time up. He has scored the only A's run of the afternoon. Takes pitch outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Reddick, Smolinski, and Semien. First 3 up against Cole Hamels. Blowing outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Well, Hamels walked the first hitter in the 4th inning, Brett Lowry, then got a double play and turned into a 3-hitter inning for him. Falling behind Reddick here. And the 3-0 pitch. Lost him. So each of the last 2 innings now, Hamels has gone out and had difficulty in the first man that he faced. A 4-pitch walk to both Lowry and now Reddick.
You know, Buzz, all 3 walks have come from the windup. He walked Burns with 1 out, nobody on. The last 2 have been leadoff walks. And then he's gone to the stretch and gotten a double play the first 2 times. See if he gets one right here from Smolinski. No double play.
Probably not.
Run, Reddick.
Unless there's a bad hop.
We'll double you off first.
Rudad waiting for it to come down, makes the catch for out number 1. And before Marcus Semien comes up, let's send it back to John Radigan for a Mazda game break.
Now batting shortstop, the 10, Marcus Semien.
All right, John, thank you. Marcus Semien, who struck out his first time to the plate. Hamels going to work on Reddick a bit. You'll remember Reddick, first time he got on, stole second and stole third. So Cole paying a little more attention to him this time. Cole varying a couple of moves over there. Semien at 256 average. Hamels deals strike one. Marcus Semien did not appear in yesterday's ball game. He was in there on Tuesday night. A ball and a strike. Semien swinging a pretty hot bat of late. That 7-game hitting streak. We've seen him go 9 for 25. Base hit to right field. Looked at an 8-game hitting streak. Around to third goes Reddick. Runners at the corners now and one out. Well, Semien waiting nicely on the off-speed pitch. Drilled it to right.
Yeah, Semien got off to a great start. In his first 40 games, he was hitting .314. Then he went into a little bit of a lull for a long time. For 2 months, he hit .195. Picked it up again. Last 6 weeks, he's up hitting right around .290. Well, the leadoff walk moves over to third now with one out.
Now Carson Blair, the catcher, will step in, and Blair, seen him in a situation like this, trying to lay down a bunt at one point. Got an RBI last night. Not on a bunt, but by swinging the bat. And he takes strike one. Cole Hamels in need of another double play. Rangers have turned 3 behind him. Cole peering in for the sign. Got Reddick at third, Semien at first. On the inside corner. Saw the stat last time that Blair was at the plate. 17 strikeouts in 10 games. Cole would not mind a strikeout here. Left-handers ready, a check of first. Double play ground ball. Elvis to the bag himself. On to third. The 6-3 double play. The 4th twin killing turned by the Rangers this afternoon. And Hamels is off the hook again.
As you would say, Buzz, he's got the 2-ball working today.
Got that one going. After 5, Rangers by 2. Worth $200 and dinner for 2 at Sonic Drive-In. If a Ranger hits a home run during this inning, Jason Jenkins of Dallas will win $200. And if a Ranger hits a grand slam this inning, Jason is going to take home $25,000. You can register at any participating Sonic restaurant. Now, Rougned Odor getting set to lead things off. Fernando Abad has come out of the A's bullpen now. He's going to be the third in a procession of what would probably be one-inning pitchers for the A's. Pat Venditti worked an inning. Fernando Rodriguez worked a frame. And now Fernando Abad. And Leon also getting loose in that bullpen.
If you start going one inning at a time in the fourth inning, sooner or later someone's giving up a run. Just not going to have 6 guys come in and throw a shutout inning. So it might as well be Abad right here.
There you go. Odor, Venable, and Jimenez, the first 3 to face Abad. Veteran left-hander. This is inside for ball 1. Odor has singled and reached on an error this afternoon. Rugnet 0 for 6 in his career against Abad. Takes inside again. 2 balls, no strikes. The Rangers leading 3-1. Cole Hamels, though, in the last couple of innings has been walking a tightrope. So far, he's been able to navigate that unscathed thanks to the double plays. 4 double plays turned by the Rangers in the first 5 innings. Third player in Ranger history with 15 or more home runs before he turned 22. That's where Rugnet is. Ruben Sierra twice. Juan Gonzalez, the other ones. And a base hit to right field. Canna couldn't decide whether to go after it or not, and by the time he decided, it was too late. Odor with his second hit of the day. He is aboard to start off the Rangers' 6th inning.
I'm debating whether I should repeat something that was just said in my ear.
Okay.
Right now, I don't know if I should or not. I'm going to have to get some guidance on this. One guy's going, don't do it. One guy's going, do it. So I'm going to lay off it. It's a play on words that I'm not clever enough to do myself. So I would be repeating what someone else said. But once I do, might as well be me that thought of it. So I'm laying off it. So worthwhile, though.
Will Venable gets down a good bunt. And out at first base is Canna made the play to Lowry covering, and Venable the sacrifice. Goes 3-4 on the put out, and into scoring position now is Rugnet Odor. Chris Jimenez coming up.
Well, throughout this series, the Rangers have just done a very good job of all the fundamental things that you want to accomplish, whether it's a sacrifice bunt, whether it's getting a man in from third base with less than 2 outs. The hit and run has worked for them. Aggressively running the bases. He's playing a good series so far today. It's Cole Hamels making 4 good pitches to get 4 ground balls when he needed them, and the Ranger infielders turning it into 4 double plays in 5 innings. He's done a lot to keep his pitch count down and keep this score 3-1.
First pitch is off speed and outside to Chris Jimenez. Jimenez 2 for 2, a pair of singles to right field. That average now up to 278. A's infield pulled around to the left with Chris up there. Jimenez hitting out of that open stance. Down at his shoe tops. 2-0. Rangers this year with that runner in scoring position average coming up. They are 4 for 8 today, and season average at 248. Got Odor out there at second, and it's a big run. Rangers have been quiet as far as run production since the 2nd inning. Had some opportunities early, capitalized, getting 2 in the first, 1 in the second. And that breaking ball is high and tight. 3-0. Jimenez hitting in the number 9 slot. He'll be followed by Delino DeShields. The bat, belt high set. 3-0 pitch. He lost him. Jimenez on base all 3 times today. A couple of singles and a walk. First and second for Delino DeShields. And Kurt Young, the pitching coach for Oakland, is going to head out to the mound. The Rangers now have had a walk in each of the last 2 innings and 3 of the last 4. See if they can turn those into a run or 2. Well, folks, October means baseball, and FS1 continues to be your home for postseason action, the American League Division and Championship Series. Don't miss a moment of the drama and history. It all begins October the 8th on FS1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And the Rangers angling for a spot in this year's postseason. Right now they have a 3-game lead in the division over the Astros and looking to make it 3.5 with a win here today. Leading the A's at the moment by a 3-1 count. Delino looking to change that.
Now batting, 7, Delino
DeShields, a couple of singles, a run scored, and an RBI today. Last time up, skied to center field. He's got Rougned Odor at second, Chris Jimenez at first. Fernando Abad. Little inside move to second, but Odor not going anywhere. Odor started this inning by bouncing a single through the right side. He was sacrificed to second by Venable. And the walk to Chris Jimenez. Knee-high strike. 0-1. "22-year-old Delino DeShields really coming into his own as the center fielder and leadoff hitter for the Rangers. One the count. Delino facing Fernando Abad. Delino hitting in the leadoff spot now for each of his last 62 games. He has been very much a catalyst for the Rangers. 2-1 the count. Abad leaning in for the sign. Out of play to the right. 2-2. Delino wagging that bat back and forth as Fernando Abad sets. Ground ball, base hit to left field. Odor being waved around third. The throw not in time. It's cut off. And Delino DeShields, his 3rd hit of the afternoon, drives in his 2nd run, increases the Ranger lead to 4-1. Big hit for Delino DeShields and the Rangers.
Well, it's a 2nd single to drive in a run in the ball game for Delino. He had one back in the 2nd inning. And the hits and the runs kind of sprinkled all through the lineup. That's been the theme for the Rangers the last 10 days. A lot of hits, a lot of runs, a lot of base runners, and everybody taking part in the offensive explosion they've had.
The Rangers now 4 runs on 9 hits. They put a couple of singles and a walk together in this 6th inning for a run. Looking for more as they have Shin-Soo Choo at the plate. Choo 1 for 3 today. A 1st inning double that drove in his 72nd run of the year. 1 ball, no strikes. They talked about the difficulty that the A's have had, and bullpen not immune to that difficulty. A's in September have a team ERA of 6.61. That is a run per game more than anybody else. And that's closing in on the worst mark. I would say the highest mark, but that indicates it might be a good thing. It's not. Worst mark in Oakland history. And an ERA of 6.59 back in May of 1997. That's the highest it has ever been in any one in the month of September for the A's. Kurt Young and Bob Melvin trying to figure out a way to keep from setting that mark. And Chu with a swing and a miss, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Chu up there with Jimenez at second, DeShields at first. The breaking ball hangs high to him. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes now. The bot set, check of the runners. Low and outside, a full count. Chu, high ball in the strike zone. He is trying to get aboard. Prince Fielder, Ranger DH, is in that on deck circle. Abad ready, the payoff pitch. Got him swinging. Chu strikes out for the second time this afternoon. There are 2 gone now with Fielder coming up. First strikeout for Abad.
Batting for 84, Prince Fielder.
Look, Abad threw a 88, 89 mile an hour slider. Pretty good velocity for a pitch that broke that much. A little more than a cutter, but a very effective pitch. Good location with it too.
Well, Prince steps in 0 for 3 this afternoon. A couple of ground outs and a strikeout. Fielder just 1 for 10 in his career against the left-hander Abad. Prince struggling in this stop on the road trip. He is just 1 for 13.
No.
Just off the outer edge. 2-0. Drew Pomeranz has joined Arnold Leone down in that bullpen. Three and 0 to Fielder.
Hey, when you like, let's go.
I would think Prince would have a green light. I think Jeff Bannister probably trusts Prince not to expand his strike zone too much. Ball 4. Fielder drops the bat in disgust. And that loads the bases, and it is our sonic slam inning. So Adrian Beltre coming to the plate. He will not face Fernando Abad, as Bob Melvin making a very purposeful walk out to the mound, and he's going to bring in the right-hander Arnold Leone. So bases loaded, 2 outs in our sonic slam inning. Rangers leading 4-1. We'll come back and tell you all about it right after this on Fox Sports Southwest. ball game. He inherits bases loaded and 2 outs here in the 6th inning. Rangers already have pushed a run across, and they are looking for a whole bunch more with Adrian Beltre coming to the plate. And Jason Jenkins, our Sonic Slam inning winning, or I should say contestant, about ready to win $25,000 if Adrian leaves the ballpark. Ball 1. But Jason, unless you're performing surgery of some type, why don't you go ahead and sit down, dude? Fasten your seatbelt.
Yeah, the surgery is pretty lucrative, but I doubt it's more lucrative than one swing of this bat by Adrian Beltre.
Beltre today is 1 for 3. Line drive to left field. That is going to be down for a base hit. 2 runs will score. Jimenez in, and right behind him, the liner to Shields. The ball gets by everybody. Arnold Leon is standing at home plate being a spectator. So the ball all the way to the backstop, and the runners advance 90 more feet. And the Rangers have advanced their total. It's now 6-1.
I think the number for what the average was the first 2 days of this series with men in scoring position was something like 430.
Now
The
batting.
Rangers continue to get big hits. The thing you love to see is they score early and then they continue to add on to it to make sure that the A's can't get anything going. There's a fastball right down the middle of the plate. Adrian rips it into left field. Not much chance to throw to Shields out at the plate, and then the ball gets all the way by the catcher.
Well, Mitch Moreland will give the intentional walk, and that'll reload the bases for Elvis Andrus. I'm not sure that I can remember an inning where the Rangers have loaded the bases a couple of times, our Sonic Slam inning, but Jason Jenkins, you may be riding a lucky day here. If this pays off for you, you may want to go out and play the lottery tonight, too. Well, Elvis will come up after this 4th wide one is delivered. Bases loaded, still 2 outs. A couple of runs came in on the last hit. Adrian Beltre, by the way, now 3 more RBI today. He is up to 70 for the season.
Now batting. Number 1, Elvis Andrus.
Well, here comes Elvis, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. 6 for 13 this year for Elvis with the bases full.
6 out of the last 8 games, the Rangers have had 10 double-digit hits or more. 10 or more hits.
Leon missing low and outside for ball 1. Elvis's average now at .259. He has Fielder at 3rd, Beltre at 2nd. Leon back to the plate. 2-0. This is the formula the Rangers have used very effectively in this series, and adding on the middle part of the ball game to the latter stages of the game. Our AT&T Uverse Rewind will take you back to last night, and Elvis driving one way out of the ballpark. Tried to dismantle the wall behind the wall out there in left center field. It was career best 7th home run of the year. 2-1 pitch coming from Leon. 2-2. Rangers have upped their runner in scoring position average a bit. 464 in this series against the A's for the Rangers. Carson Blair flashing the signs out. Now Arnold Leon is ready. 3-2. Well, if Elvis is able to extend this 6th inning, you'd have Rougned Odor coming up for his 2nd at bat in this inning. Elvis, the 9th man the Rangers have sent to the plate here in the 6th. Leon sets the payoff pitch coming to Elvis.
that curveball, and Elvis just barely got a piece of it.
Elvis facing the 27-year-old right-hander, Arnold Leon from Culiacan, Mexico. Another 3-2 pitch. That is out of play to the right. The fielder back to third, Beltre back to second, and Moreland back to first. Leon taking plenty of time. He's ready once again. Off the end of the bat, a looping line drive to Semien, and that will do it. But the Rangers send 9 men to the plate and score 3 of them. 3 men are left. After 5.5, it's now the Rangers 6 and the A's 1. It's the last chance of the season to enjoy Dollar Hot Dog Night at Globe Life Park. Just get to TexasRangers.com to get tickets for the matchup, your Rangers and the Tigers, and savor all the dollar hot dogs you can eat for just $1 each. Cole Hamels back to the hill, facing the top of the Oakland order. Billy Burns starting things off, takes ball 1. It'll be Burns, Canna, and Lowry. Rangers now on top by 5. It is 6-1. Burns has walked and grounded out. Out of play to the right. 1 ball and 1 strike. See if the extra time on the bench while the Rangers were scoring 3 times helps Cole get back into a little bit of a groove. Last couple of innings have been very unlike Cole Hamels. Shallow center field. Delino is playing fairly shallow to begin with. Makes the catch, and there is out number 1. So improved from the last 2 innings when the leadoff man walked to get aboard. And Mark Canna coming up. Canna is singled and grounded into a double play. That was one of the 4 double plays that the Rangers have turned. Canna, 256 average as he steps in. And Hamels drops in that big breaking ball.
Curve was really effective for Cole in his game against Seattle in his last start. No walks, 12 strikeouts in that game. That was the game he probably threw more curveballs than any of the other games, and it was really working well for him.
Another one. This results in a one hopper to Beltre. But that might have gotten Adrian in that left thumb. He still has to be careful a little bit catching the ball. That left thumb not completely healed and probably won't be until Christmas time. But you will never hear Adrian complain about it.
No. He had some kind of a splint on his index finger of his left hand, too.
2 up, 2 away. Here's Brett Lowry.
Still does. You can see it. A lot of players keep their right index finger out of their glove. That would be his left index finger.
Yeah.
If you're a left-handed thrower, you might keep your right index finger out of your glove.
Base hit to center field for Lowry, his first safety of the afternoon. No 2-out base hit, and Danny Valencia now will come up. Well, Lowry's been on base a couple of times with a walk and now the single.
And some people watching might say, well, why would they keep that finger out of the glove if there's a finger meant for that finger in your glove, meant for that finger? And players would keep that out of their glove so it doesn't hurt as much. You catch so many balls over a long period of time, and a lot of the balls hit that finger because that's right in the pocket of your glove. So they keep it outside the glove to keep from getting a bone bruise, and keep from having that finger sore all season long. Then you get used to doing it. The glove just doesn't feel right if you don't have that finger outside the glove.
That's right.
Senators a long time ago had a minor league pitching coach named Bert Thiel. And when he went around to watch the teams play, he would tell the pitchers they could not pitch for the Senators if they kept that finger out of their glove. They had to wear the glove the right way to handle the glove and field your position. Put the finger in the glove. I can remember one day Bill Dennehy caught this wicked line smash back to him, and I won't use the same language he used, but he came back and he said, "I'm glad I had my finger outside the glove that time." And Bert Thiel was roving and in the dugout. He was right there when he said that to him. They got into a big tiff right during the game.
I remember a couple of old-time pitching coaches when I was first coming up, and it said if you have that finger out of the glove, the tendency to raise it when you're throwing one pitch, pitch, as the other tips pitches off. So they wouldn't. They encourage you to keep that finger inside the glove, so you couldn't do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've heard a pitcher say that his pitches were being picked up because he was doing that.
Yeah.
Never thought. I hadn't thought of that since.
Well, because when a pitcher's out there and he has his finger out, it becomes very visible. I think to hitters, and that's a pretty easy thing to pick up if it changes from one kind of pitch to another. Valencia able to check his swing. The count fills now to Valencia. A 1 on 2 out. Valencia trying to extend the inning. If he does, Billy Butler, the DH, is next. Valencia today is 0 for 2. A couple of ground outs, one resulting in a double play. Runner on the move. Payoff pitch. Shallow center field. Coming on Delino to Shields. Puts it away. That'll do it. No runs. 1 hit and 1 left for the A's. We'll go to the 7th inning here in Oakland. Rangers 6, A's 1. Rangers started off fast, and things got started when Shin-Soo Choo doubled high off the wall. The Rangers went ahead 1-0. Adrian Beltre made it 2-0 with his RBI single. All that in the first inning. Then in the second, a little excuse me swing by Delano DeShields. Played at another run. That was a 3-0 lead. And in the sixth inning, Delano DeShields, another RBI single. This one driving home Rougned Odor. Rangers would go on to score 3 more times. They take a 6-1 lead into the seventh inning. And Dan Otero has come out of the A's bullpen to be another reliever on the hill today. Otero, 38th outing of the year, a 7.44 ERA. He has had, by his standards, a miserable year. He's been up and down a bit trying to get himself straightened out. Just hasn't worked yet.
He must not be able to get his sinker to sink down in the lower part of the strike zone. When he's pitching well, he's got a really good sinker.
Yeah, a lot of ground balls, and Rougned Odor shooting one out of play. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Rougned, a 2-hit afternoon. He is 2 for 3, a pair of singles. He has scored twice. Rangers with 10 hits here this afternoon. And Odor fouls one back just below us. 1-2. Yoni Kella boosting in that Ranger bullpen. That may signal the end of the afternoon for Cole Hamels. Been a little bit erratic for Hamels today, up and down a bit, but still limited the A's to just a run on 4 hits. And that 1 run was unearned. Otero set the 1-2. That evens the count. There's Cole. 6 innings of work for the workhorse left-hander. You would expect at least 7 innings on a day when the Rangers have scored 6 runs for him, but had to work a lot of pitches with a little bit of inconsistency in the 4th and 5th innings. Odor, another pop foul back this way. 2-2. Talking about Dan Otero being up and down. He pitched in 15 ball games at Nashville AAA. It has not been a smooth season for Otero or the A's bullpen in general. Pitch foul down by Rougned Odor. Otero has worked in now 6 games this year against the Rangers. Picked up a win, had a 7.71 ERA, however. The Rangers treating him rather rudely. Otero ready, the 2-2 pitch coming to Odor. Canada to the backhand, wins the race to first. That is out number 1. And it will bring up Will Venable. Folks, join us at the ballpark. Rangers face the Tigers this Monday for a key game, and they push to the playoffs. Courtesy of Fox Sports Southwest, upper level and Lexus Club tickets, or Lexus Club Terrace tickets, will be just $10. You can visit TexasRangers.com and use the coupon code NEVEREVERQUIT. Get your specially priced tickets today. Will Venable has had a sacrifice bunt and has grounded out a couple of times. 0 for 2 officially. Will getting that start in left field today. Otero taking something off and missed down and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now 2-1. Venable has driven in 3 runs in a Ranger uniform. Two and 2. Otero okays the sign. The right-hander set. Out of play.
You're talking about Otero's ERA being over 7. Last year he was 8-2 with a 2.28 ERA. Pitched 72 ball games. Then in half a season the year before that, his ERA was 1.38, 33 games. So for it to be over 7, add up the last 2 years, it wasn't close to 7.
Venable yanking that pitch foul down the right field line. Yeah, and he fits right in with other A's pitchers that have just had a tough year and has not been anything like we're used to seeing from Oakland pitching.
No. Yeah, he came into this year, his major league totals were he was 12-2 with a 2.35 ERA. And as a sinker ball pitcher, you'd say it's probably a combination of not the command that he's had, not the amount of movement on his ball that he's had.
Venable back in there, tapping the plate with the business into that bat. Blair flashing the signs out, and he and Otero not together on what they wanted to do on the next pitch. And now Venable's going to have to get a new bat after that one. One out, bases empty. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The count to Will Venable, the number 8 hitter in the Ranger order. Up the middle, and that is into center field, a base hit. So Otero finally got one closer to the middle of the plate, and Venable, after fouling off some tough pitches, able to shoot that right between the wickets of Dan Otero and into center.
Another long at bat. Boy, the Rangers have had some long at bats in this game. Every A's pitcher that's come in has seemed like they've thrown a lot of pitches, been a lot of foul balls, a lot of hits. And then the other ingredient is I don't think there's been one single A's pitcher that's cared about how quickly they work either.
No.
They ought to be watching Cole out there and see what working quickly is all about.
Chris Jimenez takes strike 1. Yeah, to say they have been very methodical, I think, is an understatement.
Yeah. It couldn't have hurt their results by being a little quicker, some of them.
Jimenez, perfect afternoon. He has singled twice and walked. Chris has scored a run. Tom, you're talking about the different parts of the order getting things done. The bottom part of the Ranger order to set things up today for the top part as far as driving in runs. Odor and Jimenez in the 7th and 9th spot. Been on 4 times, 5 times between them.
Yeah. It just continues to be a really nice team effort all the way around. Every Ranger has reached today at least once in some way.
Reddick takes care of the fly ball off the bat of Chris Jimenez. 2 gone. And Delino DeShields comes up for his 5th time to the plate. Good day for Delino. He is 3 for 4, 2 RBI, and he has scored 2 runs.
Now batting, number 7.
The RBI total now up to 34 for Delino.
Well, Keone's still throwing down in the bullpen, so you would think he's doing more than just getting loose. I think he'd be coming into the ball game.
DeShields shoots one to right center. Burns in a hurry makes the catch in the gap, and that'll do it. No runs a hit, 1 left for the Rangers. Will take the stretch in Oakland. Rangers leading the A's 6-1. plays. Rangers have turned 4 this afternoon. Behind Cole Hamels, and Cole starting that one himself. That was back in the 3rd inning. And a very important one in the 4th inning after the leadoff walk. So the Rangers backing up Hamels with some good leather. Elvis taking care himself of that last one. Well, Hamels finished after 6 innings. He leaves having given up 4 hits, 1 run. It was unearned. 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, and Keone Kela has come out of the Ranger bullpen to take over. Kela appearing in his 66th ball game of the year. Keone worked here on Tuesday night. Worked a shutout inning with a walk. On to face Butler, Reddick, and Smolinski. And Butler rips one down the left field line. That is into the corner. Venable digs it out, but Butler steaming into second with a leadoff 2-bagger.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Billy Butler's 1,400 career hit.
And the announcement made here in Oakland for Billy Butler, that is his 1,400th career hit. Well, Butler, who spent the first part of his career in Kansas City, a doubles machine there, and he very fittingly has a double as he reaches 1,400 for the career. Saw Drew Stubbs, who's come in the ballgame to take over in center field. You got Venable, Stubbs, and Chu left center and right. Keone Kela now will face Josh Reddick. Reddick has been aboard both times this afternoon. He had an infield single and scored the run for the A's back in the 2nd. Last time up, he walked in the 5th. Oh, and 1. Kela, a check of second. This is low and outside. Keone Kela, you remember the hiatus he was given down at AA at the end of July. Last game he worked in July was on the 30th against the Yankees at home. Gave up a run on a hit, and that was his 49th appearance of the year. Rangers were a little concerned with the amount of work that he'd had, so they sent him to AA for a while and gave him essentially 10 days off. Came back on the 11th of August, and boy, since then he has been lights out. He has not been scored upon since he came back into the bullpen on the 11th of August. ...16 appearances, including today. Breaking ball is in the dirt, and the count evens now at 2-2. Keone Kela, the 22-year-old, born in Los Angeles, grew up in the Seattle area, has been a very big part of the Ranger bullpen this year. Got him swinging. Kela getting his 66th strikeout of the year. Reddick down swinging, 1 out. And Jake Smolinski called back to the dugout.
That hard curveball that Keone likes to throw. He gets a number of his strikeouts with it. That one he buried right in the dirt, but Reddick couldn't lay off it anyway.
Now, Stephen Vogt is going to come up as a pinch hitter for Jake Smolinski. Got the left-hander Andrew Faulkner down there in the Ranger bullpen. Crowd giving Vogt a nice round of applause. One of the bright spots for the A's this year.
The Vogt sounds like quite a guy. And a nice article about him in the paper. Uh-oh. Kevin Harmon coming out to check with Keone. This is not good.
No, you don't like that. Keone had a little bit of elbow fatigue, is what they called it before, and Well, anytime you see the trainer, in this instance Kevin Harmon, go out there along with the pitching coach, that is not good. Hopefully it's just a little bit of a false alarm, and Keone assuring everybody that he's okay. Elvis still needs some convincing.
Well, finishing up on Stephen Vogt, they had a nice article about him and all the things that he and his wife do in the community, which shows the kind of player he is, and he talks about the importance of what he does off the field having a lot more meaning to him than what he does on the field. And fortunately, a lot of players are like that.
O'Kella set to work. First pitch to Vogt. Ball one. Saw the numbers for Stephen Vogt. 18 home runs, 67 RBI, 267 average. One ball and one strike. Rangers in an extreme overship. Rougned Odor playing 40 feet out in right field. Elvis right behind the bag at second base. Outfield just about straight away. One pitch on the way. Popped up foul. That will be back into the seats. Keone, pretty good life on the fastball. Seen their radar gun readings, but Vogt is a very good fastball hitter, and Keone's been able to get a couple of swings from Vogt. Well, he was not right on the pitch, let's put it that way. 1-2 now. Got him swinging.
Same curveball.
Yep. Boy, that has been a weapon. Two gone. Back-to-back strikeouts of Reddick and Vogt.
He's like a lot of pitchers with a great fastball and a good breaking ball. If you're a hitter, you have to key in on the fastball. Unless you're just ahead in the count and you think he's going to throw you a breaking ball. But if you've got two strikes, you have to look fastball all the way and then hope you can adjust to the curveball. His curveball breaks so sharply that most hitters haven't been able to do that.
Yeah. Well, Marcus Semien, 1 out of 2, steps to the plate. First pitch curveball is a bit low, and Semien taking all the way for ball one. 258 the average for the A's shortstop as he faces Keone Kela. Billy Butler started the inning with a double, and 2 outs later he is anchored out there at second still. That breaking ball nibbling on the outside corner. 1-1. Semien, part of that deal that sent Jeff Samardzija to Chicago last year. Hits the ball well to center field. Stubbs racing back at the track and against the wall. He makes the catch. Boy, Drew Stubbs, a great break on the ball, and he ran it down right at the padding. No runs, a hit, and 1 man left after 7. Rangers leading 6-1. through the end of the regular season. You're finished here in Oakland this afternoon. Then it's on to Houston, a big 3-game set. Tomorrow night, Saturday afternoon, and Sunday afternoon. Then it's back home. Finish off the regular season. You have 3 against Detroit and 4 against the LA Angels. And those may be huge in a lot of respects. Both the wild card and the American League West could be decided by those last 4 ball games. Well, Cody Martin, our throwing right-hander, is on now for the A's. Martin, a couple of starts this year for Oakland, a 16.50 ERA. Originally selected by the Atlanta Braves in the 2011 draft, a 7th round pick. Up there facing Shin-Soo Choo to start things off, and Martin misses with a breaking ball. 1-0. Mark Canha moves from first base out to left field now, with Stephen Vogt staying in the game, taking over at first. 2-0 to Choo. Choo has had a double in 4 trips. And Martin misses low. 3 balls, no strikes. So Choo trying to get aboard to start the Ranger 8th inning. Prince Fielder in that on-deck circle will be next. And Martin deals a strike. 3-1. Right-hander back to Choo. 3-2. Martin is the 7th pitcher used by the A's here this afternoon. And ball 4 is wide. Oh, Choo eyeballs a walk to start off the 8th inning. Here comes Prince.
Now batting, number
And before
84,
Fielder steps in, let's send it back to John Radigan for a Mazda game break. All right, John, thank you.
Diamondbacks having a pretty nice season. They've got a good team. Got 3 hitters in the top 10 batting average: Goldschmidt, Pollock, and Enciarte.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they kind of get lost in the translation out there. In
Yeah,
the,
you hear
NL
absolutely
West.
nothing about them unless you're watching some of the late night shows.
Fielder, a drive to right. Way back goes Reddick. Goodbye. Prince Fielder got a breaking ball that stayed up for him. And Fielder hits his 22nd home run of the year. It is an 8-1 Ranger lead. Prince Fielder now 22 home runs, 86 RBI. And the Rangers opening up a 7-run advantage.
Number 29, Adrian Beltre.
Pretty much been the story of this series. The Rangers score early and keep on scoring.
Yep. Beltre takes strike 1.
8 games the first day, 10 last night. We got 8 today.
And that pitch spins Adrian around. An off-speed pitch. He was hung in there. Watch Prince.
Get out! Get out!
And having some of his teammates helping that ball out, telling it to get up and get out, and it did. Inside to Beltre. The count is 2-1. Well, the Rangers now has a team with 160 home runs this year. 12 more hits this afternoon. They continue to pound the baseball. Beltre 3 RBI this afternoon on a couple of hits, 2 for 4. And he lines it to right. Reddick coming on. It stays up for him, and Reddick able to make a knee-high catch for out number 1.
Adrian really swinging the bat well. His average up over 2.8. He's had 2 hits going into that at bat. Still has 2 hits, 2 for 5 in the game. Driven in 3 runs.
Folks, on Friday, October 2nd, it's the last chance to see a post-game fireworks show at Globe Life Park. Fans attending the game between division rival Los Angeles Angels and your Rangers will be treated to a post-game fireworks show themed to your favorite spooky music to help the countdown to Halloween get underway. Discounted tickets are available at TexasRangers.com using the online coupon code FIREWORKS. Mitch Moreland drives it to center. That sends Burns back. He is at the wall. It's off the wall.
I don't think he ever saw that ball.
Well, until it was scooting by him going the other way.
I think he saw it to get back on it, and then it looked like he looked up and lost the ball in the sun and kind of shied away from it. Plus, my eyes are playing tricks on me. It looked what he did.
Yeah.
We've seen him. Let's see right here. Yeah, you see him put his glove up. Kind of lost track of where the ball was. I think if he saw that ball, he would have gone after it based on what we've seen from Burns this year. He's not afraid to go into the wall or try to go over the wall. He just didn't know where that ball was right at the end.
Moreland with the double, his first hit of the afternoon. Now Mitch 1 for 3. And Elvis Andrus called back to the dugout. Hanser Alberto is coming on as a pinch hitter. Alberto into the ball game. Will take over at shortstop for Elvis. 1 ball, no strikes. Alberto at .224 with the average. Playing in his 41st game here this afternoon. No home runs, 4 driven in. Got Moreland at second, 1 out. One ball and 1 strike. Elvis, by the way, finished the day 0 for 3 with a walk. But again, a solid performance. Well, the Rangers shortstop made some very solid defensive plays and holding the infield together. He and Beltre and Odor and Moreland. Solid quartet. Martin back to the plate.
Elvis would have had a couple of hits in this game if he'd worn those ear flaps he wore the last 2 nights.
I'd forgotten about that. He went in against his superstition or against
pretty
convention.
tough to wear them when it's 75 degrees out and sunny, but if you're superstitious and you've had a couple of good games.
Yeah, you can. We're going to have to mention that to him. And Alberto gone. That sweeping breaking ball from Martin gets the strikeout. 2 gone. Yeah, you can't test the baseball gods that way.
No, it's actually hurting the team, I think.
I agree with you. And I would imagine the next Kangaroo Court that'll be brought up too.
He'd be brought up either way, for wearing them when it's hot or for not wearing them.
Urugna Odor steps to the plate, 2 for 4 this afternoon. He has scored a couple of runs. He's had 2 singles. 1 ball, no strikes. Facing Cody Martin. And a 2-hopper out to Lowry at second. That will do it. But Rich Fielder unloads his 22nd home run of the year, a 2-run blast. Rangers get 2 runs on 2 hits and leave 1. After 7.5, it's now the Rangers 8 and the A's 1.
Get out, get out.
right, Rangers on top of the Athletics here at O.Co Coliseum as we close out a 3-game series against the Oakland A's. This is the final game against the A's this season. We are headed off to Houston after this. The Astros enjoying an off day. The Rangers will travel tonight, get things going in that 3-game series tomorrow night, beginning at 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Southwest. The hot-hitting Adrian Beltre will be on display, and Jose Altuve, is that all he's got? 188 hits. It seems like he's got 242 at this point in time, but I'll trust the graphics. So a good series on tap starting tomorrow. Thanks to the folks at AT&T Uverse for getting us ready for the Astros series, guys.
All right, Em, thank you. Yeah, Altuve looks like he gets 3 hits every 2 at-bats in some stretches. Andrew Faulkner, the 23-year-old, is on the hill for the Rangers here in the 8th inning. Faulkner appearing in his 8th ball game. 1 hold to his credit, a 3.68 ERA, and the opposition hitting just .214 against him. Faulkner, the converted starter, started at the beginning of this year and his entire minor league career. He appealed down to first, and he went around. Carson Blair gone on strikes. That's how Faulkner's 8th inning begins. And Hanser Alberto, who pinch hit for Elvis, stays in the ballgame, takes over at short. Alberto, I've always talked about being one of the best defensive shortstops in all the minor leagues. And had a chance to see him in his own environment here playing short in place of Elvis for the last couple of innings. Well, Billy Burns steps in for his 4th at-bat. He is 0 for 2 officially with a walk. Beltre charging. Off-balance throw is high, and it's over. Moreland down the right field line. Burns is not going to, he is going to stop at second. Odor over to get the ball, and the Rangers kind of throwing it around a little bit.
Yeah, Wash is not taking any chances. They're down as many runs as they're down, 8-1. He probably could have gotten to third, and if it was a tie game, he probably would have tried, but no sense risking it when you're down that many runs. The only surprising part of that play is that Adrian didn't throw it accurately to first base. Yep. Not a simple play, but we see him make it all the time.
Well, I would assume that's going to be an infield single and an error on Beltre. Well, the second Ranger error of the afternoon puts Burns at second with 1 out. Mark Canha, the hitter. And Faulkner throws strike 1. Canha has singled and grounded out a couple of times. 1 for 3, a .255 average. A's now with 6 hits this afternoon. Hard hit, but pulled foul, and that's going to cost Canha a bat. Bat boys, are they, as they are instructed, always have a replacement handy, or usually have a replacement handy. Andrew Faulkner from Aiken, South Carolina. Played his college ball at the, or was going to play his college ball at the University of South Carolina. Decided instead to go professional. Next pitch to Canha. Ripped to left. If it's fair, it's out of here. It is foul. Well, that ball was smoked.
Yeah, Canha did a pretty nice job of keeping that ball close to being fair. That's the kind of ball that some guys will yank 20, 30 feet foul, but he almost got the foul pole with it.
Yeah, we've seen him hit some balls in this series where inside part of the plate, he's got a pretty good hack at.
Yeah, Canha was a Rule 5 draft pick and then traded to the A's, so he had to go by the same rules, which was to stay in the big leagues all year. But it wasn't a problem for the A's to keep him in the big leagues because he's been one of their key contributors. Very valuable guy. He's been able to play the outfield or first base. Done a nice job for him. Talked about him the other night, Buzz, as being a Rookie of the Year mention for sure. And he is. He's done a really nice job for a first-year player.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Faulkner reading the signs from Chris Jimenez. That's out of play to the right.
That guy jumped up in the air, and the guy right behind him caught it. I thought he was screened out. Or maybe he did catch it. I thought the guy behind him caught it. He might have caught it. If he came down with that, that was a tremendous play.
A little over 14,000 on hand here this afternoon.
They must be at the concession stand.
Yep. Pitch outside is 2 balls, 2 strikes. Here's that play you're talking about.
Oh, was the guy behind him. And then he taunted him.
Yep. Now, Chris Jimenez out for a very brief conversation with Andrew Faulkner. 2-2, 1 out and 1 on. Full count. Canna hitting second in the A's order. Brett Lowry, the second baseman, is in the on-deck circle. Rangers leading an 8-1 here in the bottom of the 8th. Trying to complete this 3-game sweep over the Athletics and head into Houston for a big matchup with the Astros over the weekend. Popped him up, got him on the fist. And Beltre coming down from third. That is out number 2. Good pitch from Andrew Faulkner. Now before Brett Lowry steps in, let's take a look at today's strongest fan photo selection. T-Mobile making all this possible, and today's fan photo comes from Mitzi. Mitzi, thank you very much. Right out there at Globe Life Park in Arlington, making the X in Texas. And if you folks would like to tweet your strong fan photo, it's hashtag Southwest Data Strong Fan. Your photo might be selected like Mitzi's was. Be shown on one of our upcoming broadcasts. Again, thanks to the folks at T-Mobile for making all this possible. Brett Lowry is 1 for 2, a walk and a single in 3 turns to the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Lowry a .267 average. Faulkner's next pitch to him. 1-2. Faulkner, the left-hander, with the belt high set. Chopper back behind the bag, and it's foul. We will try it again. Lowry made all of his starts at third base before the acquisition of Danny Valencia, and then A's wanting to get both of them in the lineup, and Lowry move over to second. Got him swinging. Faulkner with a couple of strikeouts in the inning, a hit, but a runner stranded for the A's. We're going to the 9th in Oakland. The Rangers 8 and the A's 1. All right, John, thank you. Well, we go to the ninth inning. Rangers up by 7. They lead 8-1. Will Venable, Chris Jimenez, and Delino DeShields, or I should say Drew Stubbs. The first 3 hitters to face Cody Martin. And Will going after that first pitch, fouls it back for strike 1. Venable and a base hit his last time up. That was a single in the 7th inning. So Will 1 for 3 this afternoon. Slow breaking ball hangs outside. Hayes in the overshift. Not against most left-handed hitters. Overloading the right side of the diamond. The third baseman, Danny Valencia, on the left side. Two-one pitch. Hit hard, a rocket, one hopper into the glove of Lowry. One gone. Venable a hard out. Now Chris Jimenez. Rangers 8 runs on 13 hits this afternoon. The A's 1 run on 6 hits. Well, the Rangers, we talked about it at the start of the ball game, came into play against Oakland in this series, needing to take the offense on the road that they had on the homestand. Rangers averaged 6.5 runs per game on that 10-game homestand. They went 7-3 at home, but had not played well on the road, had not scored well on the road, and they have taken care of that in this series. They scored 8 in the first game, 10 last night, and then 8 more here today.
And they'll face 3 good pitchers, the best pitchers the Astros have to offer. Kazmir, McHugh, and Keuchel. That'll be a tough series in Houston. Astros are a much different team at home than they are on the road. Dallas Keuchel's 18-8 on the season. He's 14-0 at home.
The Rangers will see Keuchel on Sunday. Kazmir, surprisingly, has not been as good as the Astros had hoped since they got him from the A's.
He pitched that, I think it was against Kansas City when he first got there.
Right.
He pitched 7 or 8 shutout innings, pitched a great game. But he has been inconsistent since then.
Here's Drew Stubbs with his first at bat of the afternoon. He gets spun around by Cody Martin's breaking ball that hangs inside to him. Stubbs batting at 118. That's 2 for 17. Two balls, no strikes. Anthony Bass loosening in the Ranger bullpen. Looks like we'll see Anthony in the bottom of the 9th inning. 2-1. Martin to the wind, back to the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hit well to right field. Going back is Reddick, still going back. Halfway back on the track, he pulls it in. Stubbs gave it a ride to the opposite field, came up a couple of feet short of extra base. 3 up, 3 down. We're going to the bottom of the 9th. 8-1 Rangers. Southwest is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By AT&T UVerse TV. UVerse has more live TV channels on the go than cable. And by your Texas Ford dealer. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. Shot of Alcatraz. Rangers trying to put the handcuffs on the A's and get out of town with the sweep. Anthony Bass out to begin the ninth inning. Danny Valencia to start things off. The first pitch is wide for ball one. Haven't seen Anthony Bass in a while. It was the 10th of the month. So it's been 14 days since we've seen Anthony out there against Seattle. He worked an inning. Trying to knock off a little bit of the rust. He misses outside. It's 2 balls and no strikes. Valencia this afternoon 0 for 3, a fly ball and a couple of ground outs. Here's this one hard to right center field. Chu is going to have to play it off the wall. Valencia steaming into second with a leadoff double. Well, Valencia with his first hit of the afternoon. That's how the ninth inning begins.
Valencia's having good at bats. He's having a good solid season. Coming over to the A's may be exactly what his career needed. The opportunity to hit in the middle of the lineup and be a regular. His time here in Oakland certainly has suited him well. Mentioned several times how well he's done here. 32 runs batted in 38 games with the A's.
Well, here's the Texas native Max Muncy. He's going to pinch hit for Billy Butler. First pitch to Muncy is on the outside corner for strike one. Max, Keller High School graduate, also attended Baylor University. Bass back to him. This is low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Speaking of the Baylor Bears, how about Sean Tolleson starting to get loose just in case?
Yeah, Banny would rather not bring Sean in with a 7-run lead, but in the event it gets a little bit sticky, he has to have him ready just in case.
Once he fouls it out of play to the left. Count of 1 ball and 2 strikes. That's a 25-year-old. He was a 5th-round pick back in the 2012 draft. Pass back to the plate. 2-2. Anthony Bass this year, 62 innings of work. He has struck out 45 and walked 18. Giving up just about a hit per inning. Still 2-2. Muncy in his time at Baylor was a freshman All-American in 2010. Next 2 years he was an all-conference selection. Pulled slowly down to Mitch Moreland, who steps on first. On to third goes Valencia. He's down there now with 1 out. And Josh Reddick coming up. Instead, a reminder for you that on Sunday your Rangers return to Fox when they meet the Astros, the middle game of that big 3-game weekend series. Coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. and then at 5:30 on FS1. The Brewers take on the Cardinals, 5:30 p.m. on FS1. Well, Jason Pretty has grabbed the bat coming off the A's bench to pinch hit for Josh Reddick. And he strokes the first pitch into shallow center. Going out is Alberto. He makes the catch. And staying at third is Valencia. Nice running grab by Hanser Alberto for out number 2. Well, Pretty flies out to shallow center. And now Stephen Vogt coming to the plate. Vogt came on as a pinch hitter in the 7th inning and struck out. Stayed in the ball game, took over at first base. So Bass has the A's down to their final out. Vogt, a rip and a miss. Anthony trying to work around that leadoff double. Keone Keller did just that in the 7th inning. Billy Butler led off with a 2-bagger, and Keone stranded him right there. And a fly ball to shallow center. Coming on is Drew Stubbs. He puts it away, and that is a winner. The Rangers complete their 3-game sweep of the A's and increase their lead in the AL West to 3.5 games.